back. Well, we're turning the clock back once again. It's November 2022 when this was filmed, and you've picked us up as we're riding through the desert road in the Central Plateau. Earlier in the afternoon, around about 2:30, we landed in Wellington off the Picton car ferry, the Inter-Islander, and from that time we've been riding, making our way to Lake Taupo, where we were staying for the night. But first we have to travel up the island and particularly get through some pretty interesting roads. To be fair, I do like the desert road, but it's always got a few tricks up its sleeve, and one of them, as we came over the top of this particular rise, was quite a lot of rain. We got quite wet here, but as we fuel up a little bit further south down in Taihape, we picked that there was going to be some weather and had very cleverly put on our wet weather gear. Now, where we are is we're just a little bit south of Lake Taupo at the moment, and we've just recently gone through the town of Waiouru, which is pretty much a military camp down there, coldest part of the country, or at least for the North Island. And we're travelling north from that point, and this video is going to take about the 30 kilometres that we got there. Now, as you can see, conditions can change pretty quickly on the plateau, and we'd gone from some pretty nice weather earlier on to really some raging rain. It was really coming down hard here, and luckily there weren't too many vehicles on the road, like the big truck that just went by with a lot of truck wash coming off it. You don't really want a whole lot of that blasting you in the face as you're riding along on your bike. Doesn't make for pleasant riding. Now, I was thinking as we were travelling through here that with the weather conditions as they were, we weren't going to see a lot of the mountains. There's 3 pretty significant volcanoes in the area on the Tongariro National Park, principally Mount Ruapehu, Mount Ngauruhoe and Mount Tongariro. But as it turns out, the rain, or at least the worst of it, we'd already passed through it, and coming up ahead, although there was a lot of clouds and low mist around, we could see peeping through the clouds, the 3 volcanic cones that really are a major feature of the Central Plateau here. And in fact, what we're riding on is pretty much a volcanic outcrop from when these volcanoes did let go, whenever it was that they last had a proper release of energy, as you'd probably like to call it. Now, if you came to the desert road looking for a desert, you're going to be bitterly disappointed. There is no desert here. Just a volcanic plateau with some really strange and interesting landscape all around of it, and 3 quite magnificent volcanic cones. There is a walk here called the Tongariro Crossing, which apparently is a must-do for those that are very keen on an adventurous walk, and maybe one day I will try to do that. It can get quite busy during the peak season. You also have to be very careful about watching the weather to make sure that you're not caught out when you go on that walk. It is a significant undertaking, and it can't be taken lightly, because as we've already seen, just even on the road, conditions can change pretty quickly around here. One other interesting little fun fact about the Tongariro National Park: one of the volcanic cones here, Mount Ngauruhoe, is also probably better known, or more widely known, as Mount Doom from the Lord of the Rings movies. You can't really get too far away from Lord of the Rings mentions or references when you're travelling through New Zealand, both North Island and South Island. I don't know quite how I restrained myself from mentioning Lord of the Rings during the recent stay down in the South Island, because there's plenty of sites down there which were used as filming locations. Now we're just about at the point where I'm going to let the video play out, but just one last little tale. As we came through this last little stretch of corners and bends before it straightens up, the desert road that is, leading us through towards Rangipo and then further north to Turangi, there was a cloud formation that really took my interest because I'd never quite seen one like this before, and it really, after the rain we'd had and the various other things coming through the desert road, it looked like an eye opened up in the clouds. As far as I was concerned, maybe I was getting a bit delirious by this stage, but this opening in the clouds and really quite a thick cloud cover really fascinated me for a moment there while I'm riding on the bike, and I couldn't keep my eyes off it. And maybe you'll have the same effect on you. I'd like to think it was maybe the riding gods looking down on us and keeping us safe in our journey back to Auckland. Anyway, that's about all we've got time for on this one. I'll let it wrap up. See you on the next one. Take care out there, ride safe, have fun. See you next time.